Recording started.
Yes. Please start.
President.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. Today we gathered here as a customary to participate in the budget seminar, post-budget analysis, and for as a tradition, we always call our speakers to our venue to Kolkata and have one-to-one physical discussion with them on the various topics. But unfortunately, we are unable to call them due to Corona. And even then, our speakers are Corona virus leader. Even without physical presence, they will educate us from the virtual mode. Friends, as a 21st president of VIP Association, being 800 members, I welcome all of you to this virtual mode of seminar. Undoubtedly, we are having very good budget as per different perspectives, but as I find that Atmanirbhar Bharat vision statement of the government is being seen in this budget. Apart from that, in case of GST, Advait, the visionary statement given by the government in the 6 or 7 years back, which is working according to that. But yes, I am not the person, I'm not the fit person to educate everyone. For that, I just request Bhupendra Sahaji to speak on the budget. Before that, a small formal introduction. I hand over to the Mayur Agarwal to take it ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, President, and good morning to all the participants and the speaker. Friends, it was the third time Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman was presenting the Union budget, but it was not a clinch this year for her. With economic growth currently at 10 years low, widening fiscal deficit, and inflation at its highest, Madam Finance Minister had a difficult task to manage to steer the economy back on growth track that has been marred by the coronavirus pandemic. Our 4 erudite speakers shall confirm in their deliberation whether what was there in the budget and whether it bring the economy back on growth or not. So we'll be having CA Bhupender Thar will be speaking first, and then we'll be having CA Jatin Harjai. Then we are having CA Vijay Mantri, and after that, the Guruji of our profession, CA Girish Ahuja ji will be speaking. I would request CA Ajay Bhalutia ji to introduce our first speaker, CA Bhupender Sir.
Thank you, Mayur ji. Good morning, friends. Good morning, everyone. CA Bhupender Sah ji is a commerce graduate from Sydenham College and a fellow member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. He is a rank holder as in the profession of CA since 1981. He is specialized in tax and arbitration matter, as is the arbitrator panel in various organizations like FICCI, NSC, and BSc. He has delivered various lectures in various platforms of ICI, acted as a faculty member on various courses organized by our institute. Last but not the least, he is the owner of a Yahoo group called Global India CA, where more than 12,000 chartered accountants are the members. Thank you. I will request Mr. Saha to deliver.
I just 1 minute I want from the speakers. Sumantru Guha sir, the president of Salt Lake Station is on the way. Is on the video. He will speak about the Salt Lake. Sumantru Guha ji.
So you are muted, sir. We cannot hear you.
Yeah. I have unmuted myself. Thank you, Rahul. In fact, yes. Thank you, Vishnu, Rahul, and the entire VIP team for giving the opportunity to the Salt Lake City Chartered Accountants Study Circle also to be jointly hosting this very important program on the Union Budget, discussions on Union Budget 2021. In fact, as we all know that, as Vishnu has also mentioned, I would just like to slightly reiterate that the economy was down by the GDP was down by minus 7.7%, where pre-corona, when the last budget was presented by the Honorable Finance Minister, the growth was projected at around 4% or 4.2%, something around 4 to 4.2%. But then this time she has said that she's estimating growth to be around 14%, as high as 14%, of course. Now this 14% is because we are also down by minus 7.7%. So we expect that from that position, the economy should grow to 14%, and effectively it would be say around 4 to 5% of what we saw last year. But the manner in which people are gradually coming out, the manner in which the economy is gradually trying to get back into its own fold, which it was in the pre-corona stage, is very encouraging. And gradually things are opening up, and we expect, with the vaccine has also come now, we expect in the next 1 or 2 months, everything will be going in full steam, and we will be having total normalcy, not the new normalcy, but the total normalcy with which we are accustomed to within a span of 1 or 2 months. With these positive words, I once again thank Vishnu and the entire VIP team. The Salt Lake Sea Association was formed in 1985. The study circle was formed in 1999. And just to inform you that very recently, on the 24th of January 2021, we had a physical come virtual annual conference in Salt Lake in Hotel Golden Tulip. Of course, it was a one-day affair. We normally have a 2-day annual conference, but it was a 1-day annual conference, and it was attended by physically by around 200 people and virtually by another 100 people. So it was a grand success. And now I would request WIPCA also to gradually start physical meetings also, because we are having these virtual meetings for quite some time now. And I think the time has now come after this budget seminar, maybe the next seminar and all, since you have a good auditorium also in your own premises, we can start having physical meetings. And I think the percentage of having 50% attendance is no longer in force at this point of time. So we can gradually increase the attendance so that maybe even if we don't want a full house, we have a capacity of 70-75% people attending. With these small words, I once again hand over to the organizers to carry the meeting forward. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Over to
a speaker.
Yes.
Sir, please. Bhupendra sir.
Hello. Yes.
Sir, please continue.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much for the kind introduction. Good morning to everybody. And I hope everybody is in good health. And the post-corona era is something very, very unusual and unique. In spite of that, Goddess Saraswati keeps us learning every day. With the blessings now of Goddess, we start our presentation on Finance Bill 2021. I'll be mainly talking on direct taxes, and the rest will be covered by other speakers. Now this era of Bahi Khata is gone. Now we are in the era of digital budget. As is popularly told, Pushpam Pushpam Vichinvid Mula Chedam na Karayet Mala Kar Ibarame na Yatharangar Karaka. So it is called in Mahabharata. A king should extract tax in such a way from the population that bee extracts nectar from flower. Nobody should feel a pinch. Now let us go to the provisions of this Finance Bill 2021. Because time is very short at my disposal. It is like doing 60 audit in 30 days. I will try to justify that without any extension of time, which is being sought by several people. Returns of income. There are no changes in the slab rates of income tax. Whatever rates were applicable in 1920, they are continuing in financial year 2021. Individual and HUF have an option to opt for two types of taxation under section 115 BAC, as was announced in financial 1920. So there is no change. Major change which will be witnessed is you will have pre-filled income tax returns, which will have capital gains, dividend, post office interest, salary, everything already pre-filled. You may be surprised that how it is so, because 26A is linked with all these institutions, for example, brokers, stock exchanges, companies declaring dividend, post offices, and employers, etc. Now, first and foremost change is a non-filing of return for senior citizen. Now, new category of senior citizen is defined. If the age of an SSC is equal to or more than 75 years, and if he or she is receiving pension and income from any particular bank by way of interest, then there is no need for them to file returns. They have to file declaration with the bank, and bank itself will upload the declaration by way of a return on the Income Tax India website. Here there is one problem. The problem is very clear that if you are receiving post office interest, other dividend, or from other banks, then how this will work, that is yet not defined. Now, those SSCs who are covered by transfer pricing under 92E, in their case, firms were required to furnish their returns before 30th November. That remains in the budget as 30th November. However, partners were required to file their return up to 31st October. Now that date is synchronized with the date of the firm. So now tax audit firms as well as partners are required to file their ITR by 30th November. Now there are new provisions regarding reopening. This is very, very interesting, and this is very, very serious also. Major and epoch-making changes have been made in section 147 and 148. Existing provisions requires AO to write down and note that he has reason to believe that the income has escaped assessment. Now, amendment says AO is required to have information which suggests that income has escaped assessment. So major change. All these challenges to reopening have been now totally removed, because once he has an information, there is no question of satisfying any judicial authority that there is a reason to believe. Now, special provisions were there regarding the cases where scrutiny assessments were conducted. Now, there is no such provision under the amended Act. Now, new time frames have been defined under section 149, and under section 149, existing limit under 143.3 up to 4 years, there was time limit, and in proposed case, there is no such limit. On the contrary, the time frame is reduced to 3 years from the end of the relevant assessment year for assessment of escapement up to 50 lakh or more. There is a provision existing today that income is escaping rupees 1 lakh or more. Time frame of 6 years was there. Now that is reduced to 3 years up to 50 lakhs or more. And at the moment, there is a time limit of 10 years for such cases for reopening. Now, above 50 lakh or more, 10 years reopening is made applicable even without search. And third thing is that in the case of foreign asset located outside India, 16 years time limit is there. Now let us look at the provisions of search assessment. In the case of search assessment, existing provision of 153 ABC will continue to be applicable for searches which are conducted or initiated before 31st March. After 1st April, there will be new provisions. Similarly, there was 6 years block assessment. Earlier, there was 158 BC and 158 BD. But now that 153A, BC will remain only up to 31st March and not now. Assessment year 147, assessment will be done under section 147 and 148 for all searches conducted after 31st March. Now, another very interesting and far-reaching section is introduced. That is section 148A. What is 148A? Before issuing any notice of reopening, prior approval is necessary of the authorities specified under section 151. Then AO will conduct some inquiry if necessary. Then they will grant opportunity of being heard to the assessee before issuing notice under 148. Assessee's reply will be considered and thereafter passing an order with the prior approval of the specified authority for issue of notice. So now, as you can see, before reopening any assessment, elaborate procedure of 148A is prescribed. And after such rigorous, long exercise, only 148 will be issued. Idea is very simple. Most of the reopened cases were quashed on the technical grounds. So now, according to my humble opinion, such quashing of reopening notices will be very, very minimum, because exercise under section 148A would be just like a due diligence with the help of the higher authorities by the AO before reopening. Now, let us understand cases where information with the AO suggest. I told you that only requirement under 148 or 148A is that he should have information in his possession which suggests escapement of assessment. Now, let us see what are two types of possibilities. One possibility is that CBDT will prescribe various type of criteria, information. For example, in the case of bogus donations, CBDT has flagged the information that such and such trust has given or accepted bogus donations. That information is flagged in the case of SSC for the relevant assessment year. So risk management wing of CBDT will flag this with the help of the board, and that will be reflected in the assessee's 26 AS or wherever necessary on the separate tab. That will be enough for the assessing officer to initiate reopening. And second possibility is that CAG, there are two types of audit after the scrutiny is over. Number one, IAP, Internal Audit Party, and second is AG audit, Comptroller and Auditor General of India. Whatever remarks they have given, that assessment in the case of the SSC for the relevant assessment year has not been made in the accordance with the provision of this act. So my dear friends, these overrules several judgments of High Courts and Supreme Court, which says that opinion of audit party cannot be a ground of reopening. Now, it is clearly mandated in the Act itself that these can become the ground of reopening. Now, let us see other examples where cases where information which can be construed as information which suggests escapement of assessment. For example, when search is conducted, there is automatic presumption. So that principle of continental warehousing, incriminating document, nothing doing. Once search is there, there is a information with the AO. Secondly, when there is a survey. Thirdly, when there is a requisition of books of account and documents under section 132A. And with the prior approval of commissioner that any money or seized material in the case of third party also belongs to the SSE, then also it is information. So 147, 148 can be issued. Now AO is satisfied with the prior approval of the commissioner that books etc. belong to third person. So my dear friend, can you visualize that 153 ABC, all technical objections and all technical points have been completely mandated in the Act. So it is just reopening under section 147 and 148 without any further proof with the AO. Now let us see some other provisions. Number 1, intimation under section 143. 143(1) is an intimation, but now Act itself says by way of amendment that suppose auditor has mentioned that PF is paid, employees provident fund is deposited much after the due date of the particular Act, say PF, ESIC, etc. But before filing of the income tax return. So as per various judgments, say Gadge Patil, Hindustan Filter, etc. It is allowable. But still now CPC itself will be able to and eligible to make adjustment under section 143(1) based on the audit report. So now audit reports have to be very, very careful, and you can't simply do any mistake which will lead to addition. Now let us go to timeline for passing scrutiny orders. So far we have seen that scrutiny orders under section 143(3), 144, etc. from 21 months to 18 months to 12 months. Today it is 12 months. But now for assessment year 21-22 and subsequent year, it will become 9 months from the end of the relevant assessment year. So imagine you people will finish audit by September, and by December there will be one time barring assessment. So it is going to be a very heavy run for the professional. Now on the other hand, scrutiny notices were required to be issued under section 143(2) within 6 months, say September. But now it is required to be issued on or before June, that is within 3 months from the end of the financial year in which return was filed. So this is a good move, that scrutiny will be done 3 months earlier, and 143(2) also is done 3 months earlier. Now processing, even processing of returns under section 143(1. At the moment, existing provision makes it eligible that it shall be sent within 1 year from the end of the financial year in which the return is made. Now, proposed section says that no intimation under section 143(1) shall be sent after expiry of 9 months from the financial end of the financial year in which return is filed. So everywhere there is a reduction of 3 months. Now let us see belated and revised return. If you get the rights, there are liabilities. So belated and revised returns are also to be filed before December instead of March. So cutting short of belated and revised return by 3 months. For example, see assessment year 21-22. Belated return can be filed before December 31st, 2021 and not March 2022. Similarly, revised return has to be filed on or before 31st December 2021. Now, CBDT has got power to grant relief any defective returns which are filed and detected under section 138(9) or 8, even in the case of belated or revised returns. Now, trust provisions. Trust provisions have undergone tremendous change, and these are really far-reaching implications. For example, first and foremost, which is beneficial, at the moment, 1023C section makes all the trust having hospital, university, educational institutions and other specified institutions up to 1 crore rupees, no tax exemption. But now 1 crore after inflation has become very less, and therefore they have exempted up to 5 crore rupees, and that is very welcome step. However, let me warn you, such institutions, their income may be exempt up to rupees 5 crore, but they are liable to file return of income irrespective of exemption under section 139(4)(c), otherwise they will lose. The reason is very clear, that assessing officer should be able to find out whether turnover of 5 crore rupees is properly shown or not in the audited accounts. That is why that compulsory filing is preserved. Third amendment is that while calculating the applications or accumulation, double deductions were claimed by several trusts. So now they are stopped. For example, voluntary contribution received by a trust with a specific direction must be invested under section 11(5). People were not doing that. Corpus means exempt. Now that criteria is gone. Investment under section 11(5) is mandatory. Similarly, application made out of corpus fund will not be treated as application of fund. People were claiming double out of corpus, and secondly, when they spend, so that is not correct. And they shall be deposited back under section 11(5). Now, as regard loans and borrowing, they are not considered as application of income. Only when loans are repaid, at that time only the application will be counted as application. So many trusts incurred heavy losses, and excess losses were set off in the subsequent year. Now there is a retrospective amendment which prevents a trust to carry forward such excess losses to other year for set off. So these trust provisions are very important, and all these trusts which were doing activities which were outside the provisions of the law are now very well caught under the clutches. Now, as far as salaried class is concerned, their interest earned on employees' contribution fund exceeding rupees 2.5 lakh contribution shall be taxable from 1/4/2021, because they are getting 8.4% tax-free interest. Now this will make it at par with PPF. PPF is not covered here. Many people have got wrong impression that this is covered. No, PPF is not covered. Now, because of COVID-19, another relief is given to the employees. They will get cash allowance of LTC for purchasing goods and services with 12% or more GST rate. So government is given exemption to spend because they are not able to travel So LTC is not lost. They can encash and buy goods or services. However, 12% or more GST must be paid on that amount, otherwise no. And the upper limit is 60,000 and 36,000 per person, or 1/3 of the expenditure, whichever is less. Now, tax audit limit. People were asking for extension. Now, up to 10 crore rupees, there is no requirement of tax audit under 44AB, provided there is a digital payment of more than 5%. That means cash expense and cash income must be less than 5%. Otherwise, the limit remains 1 crore. Now, special provisions under section 44 ADA related to professionals are applicable only to individual HUF and partnership. Now, the Act has clarified that these are not applicable to LLP. They cannot declare 50% straight away because they are supposed to maintain books of account, and therefore LLP is not eligible for 44 ADA. As I told you, tax on dividend. Advance tax liability on dividend income will arise only after declaration or payment of dividend. Foreign investor will get benefit of lower rate of treaty as per DTAA, and business trust like REIT and INVT will be exempt from TDS, and relaxation of condition for sovereign wealth fund from dividend interest and capital gain. Now, interest of 1% has to be paid on shortfall amount with respect to advance tax installment. And these are specifically related to dividend income excluding dividend, capital gain, profit and gains of business and profession, and winning from lotteries, etc. ULIP. Many people invested huge amounts in ULIP and they got huge returns from that. So now Finance Minister is aware of that, and there is a cap that under section 1010D, anything above rupees 2.5 lakhs per annum is now taxable by way of capital gain if the amount paid is rupees 2.5 lakh or more. So now ULIP will be exempt only up to 2.5 lakh and not otherwise. Now, most serious amendment of the Finance Bill 2021. Surplus received by partner. What people were doing? They were revaluing the asset. For example, land is 1 lakh. They will revalue 100 crore, credit to partners account and pay to the partners from the contribution of the new coming partners, tax free. So now that is plugged. Section 45(4)(a) is introduced. Profit arising from revaluation as well as receipt of capital asset by the outgoing partners in excess of actual capital account will be subject to capital gain. So all the judgments of Sadia Sheikh, Maul Construction, they are all overruled. Now, Section 43CA, one-time exemption was given during COVID-19 pandemic. That price variation between the agreement and the stamp duty valuation was increased from 10 to 20% up to 2 crore rupees by a builder. Now that has been extended up to 31/3/2021, and that variance is 20% on the first time allotment of the residential unit and not on the second sale. And similar relief is also given to buyer under section 56 to 10. That means up to 20% variation between stamp duty and agreement value. No deemed income will be in the hands of builder or buyer. This is a welcome move, and up to 31/3/21. Another very serious amendment. People were claiming fake depreciation on goodwill. For example, a coaching class having capital of 1 lakh they will raise that my goodwill is 100 crore and they will claim depreciation on that goodwill. So now goodwill is taken out of the definition of block of asset at all. Intangible asset except goodwill. So goodwill is out. So no block of asset, no depreciation. Under section 32 also, depreciation will not be allowed on a goodwill. Similarly, second corollary is that goodwill on sale, suppose if I sell my goodwill, then it is now liable to capital gain. And therefore, section 50 and 55 are also amended. 50, if it's purchase of goodwill, I had purchased goodwill, then my purchase price is my cost. And if I have become owner by any other mode, then it is the cost to the previous owner. In any other case, goodwill will be valued as nil. And the difference between sale price and the cost will be treated as capital gain in the hands of the seller. So this is, so 45(4)(a) and goodwill. These are the two most serious amendments of this finance bill 2021. Now, employees' contribution. Just now I said that within 7 days you have to deposit employees' contribution. Because of several judgments, people were claiming that this is allowable if it is deposited before due date of filing of return. Now, section 43B itself is amended and 36(5)(a) that once it is late under PF Act or etc., it cannot be claimed under section 43B at all. Now, slum sale. Here also there is a major change. Slum sale under section 2(42)(c). Now it includes all types of transfer. Means by any means. Slum sale, so there was a judgment of Damapur Sugar Mills and Artrex Manufacturing that even non-monetary consideration is considered as a transfer. Now several judgments, for example, Bharat Bijli, Vatsalya Shenoy, Software Communication, etc., Oricon, several judgments have been overruled. So now difference between slum sale and slum exchange is now removed. Transfer by any mode or any manner is considered as a transfer, and slum sale benefit you may lose in certain cases. Now, fake invoices. Fake invoices and sham transaction. As you know, last time there was a penalty introduced on false entry or omission of any entry. Now, one step further it is going, and it says that even provisional attachment under section 281B can be made if the person is found to be indulging in fake invoices or sham transaction. So this will cover all your Hawala transaction like bogus share capital, share premium, then bogus loans, bogus donations, bogus sales, bogus purchase, and penny stock and what not. Mr. Convener, how much time is left? Because I do not think I can speak within 30 minutes on such a finance bill in such a short time. Is my time over or left? Please tell me.
No, sir, we have sufficient time, sir. Please carry on.
Sufficient time, no? Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, dispute resolution committee. Now, for example, if your income is less than 50 lakhs and disputed income is less than 10 lakh, now the small taxpayers need not worry much, and they can directly go to dispute resolution committee, which will be faceless. This is similar to dispute resolution panel, DRP. Under transfer pricing, these are already existing. So now we can approach this dispute resolution committee for resolution of our dispute. But two conditions are mandatory. Total income should be less than 50 lakhs and disputed income should be less than 10 lakh. And this is to reduce litigation. Now, very, very important amendment, very, very important, 3 times. We are living in the era of faceless assessment, faceless CIT appeal. Now, third and last stage up to High Court was ITAT. Income Tax Appellate Tribunal is the fact-finding authority. So, faceless ITT is the creation of this Finance Bill 2021. Let me clarify. This ITAT is going to become faceless not from today. What is the cutoff date? 31st March 2023. As you are aware, that first appeal has become faceless. Scrutiny was already faceless. Now, appellate tribunal is also going to become faceless. It is faceless one way. For example, today also, your assessing officer and commissioner of appeal knows that he is having such and such case and he is having such and such appeal. But assessee does not know who is the opposite person. So in my popular language, it is called one-way faceless. It is not two-way faceless. It is one-way faceless because they know. And that is why faceless ITAT is the concept and only electronic communication. So now sitting in Calcutta, you will be able to handle appeals of Mumbai or vice versa, or you can handle from Banaras to Cochin, Cochin to Jodhpur, anywhere. Now, just because faceless ITAT is introduced, even Vivad Se Vishwas scheme is extended to 28th February 2021. Now 95,000 crore, the figure is revised, is already collected and they are expecting more money in under VSVT. So those who are feeling that their cases are weak, they will go for ITAT, not for ITAT, but they will go for VSVT. Now, the cases which are under settlement commission are out of the purview of VSVT because Act is amended. And what is the situation over there? Some people had gone to Delhi High Court for getting the cases of settlement commission resolved by VSVT scheme. Government says nothing doing. You are outside the purview of this. So accordingly, settlement commission itself is abolished with effect from 1st February 2021. You have got 2 options, either to withdraw the case before settlement commission or to go before settlement commission board, which will be established and set up in Delhi. Now, new tax TDS 194Q is introduced. It is very much similar to your TCS, which was introduced last year. But now the aim of this TDS on purchase of goods is that those buyers who were not coming to income tax net, they will be caught. But according to me, this is going to create lot of compliance burden. Here also 10 crore limit, 50 lakh limit, everything is same. TDS of 0.1% is introduced. Now, one more serious amendment is that if opposite fellow is not filing the return, then the TDS rate is double or 5%, whichever is higher. Now, how do I know opposite person is not filing the return? So this is also a mystery which will be resolved by 26 AS of the opposite person. Similarly, in TCS also same provisions have been introduced. In equalization levy also, now they have introduced e-commerce on supply of services. Now, MAT provisions have also been rationalized. Advanced ruling authority is now substituted by a board which is to be set up. Now, IDS 2016, many people's applications were rejected. Now they will get refund of tax, surcharge or penalty, wrongly paid, but no interest will be paid to them. Housing sector gets very good relief. New deduction under section 80 EEA of rupees 1.5 lakh. Now tax holiday under 80 IBA is extended up to 31/3/2022. A new provision of tax incentive on affordable renting. Now ownership is very, very costly. So rental company will also get tax incentives. Now new provisions for leasing companies of aircraft. There is a tax holiday scheme coming. Startup companies tax holiday is extended up to 31st March. And capital exemption is also up to 31st March 2020. Very interesting provision of zero coupon bond is coming. Who will go give money for zero coupon bond? Your West Bengal is going to get 25,000 crore rupees and Kerala is going to get 65,000 crore rupees in infrastructure development. For that purpose, some zero coupon bonds are coming. I think this will be something analogous to some mini VDIS or something like that. Who will give for zero coupon? So let us see the details of the bonds when it comes. Double taxation relief is also given to NRI. Now GST audit is abolished. Although it is not my topic, but I have touched it specifically. But at the same time, power is given to the GST officers to conduct their own departmental audit by visiting the office of the SSCs. So according to me, this is a serious provision which should be objected to. I am not an auditor, but I really feel that unaudited accounts and audit power given by way of survey to the officer, that will create lot of havoc. Now, one more provision, agricultural infra says it introduced on petrol and diesel. So many PhD of social media have wrongly interpreted. If we really see, actually there is some reduction of 5 to 10 paisa. So there is no need to be worried. And this is some example on agricultural debt. So my dear friends, within the given time frame of 30 minutes, I have covered Finance Bill 2021 to the best of my ability, as I said, doing tax audit in hurry. If at all any lapses are there, they are mine. And I would conclude my session by saying the last line, life itself is a budget. Kindly continue to do good karma. Law of karma prevails. Karma comes back to you and live your life happy. Thank you very much and see you someday. Questions, if any, and otherwise, thank you very much and see you someday.
Thanks a lot, sir. We have two normal questions for you. Whether rollback is expected in any of the provision of the finance bill?
What is that?
For any provision?
Munib, just please repeat.
Do you feel that there may be any rollback of any provisions as given in the finance bill?
If rollback is known to me, then I will become
Finance Minister.
Finance Minister. So somebody has replied. So such difficult questions can be asked in CA exam, not in seminars. No.
Okay. So second normal view has been asked by the audience. Do you feel that the provision as enunciated in this finance bill, these are related to corruption eradication measures?
Corruption eradication measure. Yes, they are very much. I forgot to tell you. Reforms. Number one, and without any increase in the tax, how they have managed the budget? 12 lakh crore rupees borrowing are going to be there. And 9.5% of the GDP is estimated deficit financing. Don't worry. This, they have got very good think tank. They are planning very well. And revival of the economy is going to take place within 2 years before 2024. Take it from me.
Yes,
Any
sir.
other question?
No, Vivek Bankaji.
Yeah.
We request Vivek Bankaji to give a formal vote of thanks to our speaker.
Okay, thanks, Mayur. Thanks, Mayur. Audible? Am I
Yes,
audible, Mayur?
you are audible, Via.
Yeah, thanks. On behalf of BIPCA, I would like to thank CA Bhupender Saji for sharing views on budget analysis, direct taxes. Sir, you explained the subject in very nice and lucid manner. Really, the deliberation was very informative, and I am sure it will give the value addition to our professional knowledge. Thanks, Bhupender Saji. Yeah, over to Mayur. Yeah, further proceeding.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
हाँ, President, do you want to say something?
Yeah.
अजय सर ज्वाइन कर चुके हैं, उनको co-host
हाँ, Jatin ji is already a co-host. Good morning, Jatin ji. We welcome you to this seminar, budget analysis. I'd request co-chairman CA Ajay Balotia to introduce our second speaker of the day, Jatin Harjai ji. Over to Ajay Balotia ji.
Morning, Jatin ji. Hello.
Yes, you are audible, Ajay ji.
CA Jatin Harjai ji is a practicing advocate and a founder member of GHA Legal. Prior to this legal profession, he practiced as a chartered accountant for more than 15 years. His core expertise are in the field of indirect taxes, and there are various landmark judgments to his credit. He is a member of various tax practitioner bodies and was a co-opted member in various committees of ICI and ICSI. CA Jatin is an accredited trainer of National Academy of Custom and Indirect Taxes, Government of India, for giving training in GST to both the central and state government employees. Thank you.
Over to Jatin sir.
Good morning, everyone.
Sir, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
All distinct friends. Among you all,
Good
is
morning.
always my pleasure. Kolkata is like a second home. So anyways, last time ka mujhe yaad hai, it was a physical presence, and this time we are going to have it online.
We are missing you, sir.
Okay. Anyways, see, we are having limited time of half an hour. So I'll not be discussing what the deficiencies are there. We are having so much time कि बाद में भी कभी program करेंगे, then we will discuss कि जो drafting हुई है, drafting में कहाँ क्या लैकुना है और उसको बाद में कहाँ कैसे उनके ऊपर हम बात कर सकते हैं कभी लेटर से. आज का डेट में जो लिमिटेड टाइम है उसमें जो अमेंडमेंट है उसका एक ओवरव्यू लेते हैं, सो दैट मेंबर्स अप्रिशिएट कर पाए क्या चेंज होने वाला है. और वन में थिंक कि इसमें से कोई भी चीज़ ऐसी नहीं है जो इमीडिएटली एप्लीकेबल हो चुकी है. ठीक, those couple of things are there which are made retrospectively amended, things are changed retrospectively, but even they are not given effect. वो जब तक फाइनेंस एक्ट नहीं बन जाता, डेट नोटिफाई नहीं हो जाती, तब तक भी वो इफेक्ट में नहीं आएंगे प्रोविजंस. Anyway, before I go on the provisions one by one, let me share a backdrop of this particular budget. One backdrop is we all are very much clear that the backdrop of some urgency on account of this pandemic. That's one aspect due to which fiscal things are being managed. Or I think last में मैं शाह साहब को सुन रहा था, he was saying कि borrowings का बहुत बड़ा contribution होने वाला है, and ultimately कोई tax बढ़ा नहीं. This is a blessing kind of thing we all are saying. लेकिन लीगल पर्सपेक्टिव से जो फाइनेंस बिल में चेंजेस हैं जीएसटी कानून को लेके, अगर मैं उसकी बात करूं तो उसका बैकड्रॉप जब मुझे समझ में आता है तो दो ही चीजें मुझे दिखाई देती हैं मेनली. नंबर वन, लास्ट 1.5-2 साल में हमने देखा है, एंड मोर स्पेसिफिकली इन लास्ट 3 मंथ्स, कि जो सर्च, सीजर, इंस्पेक्शन और डिपार्टमेंट के जो इंटेलिजेंस बेस्ड एक्शन थे वो एकदम बढ़ गए. अरेस्ट की नंबर ऑफ अरेस्ट बहुत बढ़ गया है. ऐसा अनप्रेसिडेंटेड टाइम मतलब हमने कभी देखा नहीं कभी भी कि रेवेन्यू लॉ में इतने अरेस्ट हो रहे हैं. सो एक बैकड्रॉप तो ये है कि गवर्नमेंट को ये पता चला कि हमें बहुत जबरदस्त रेवेन्यू लीकेज हुआ है ड्यू टू दीज फेक बिलिंग और बोगस क्रिएशन ऑफ द फॉर्म्स. काफी लोगों ने ये वाला काम किया. तो एक ये बैकड्रॉप था. तो इस बैकड्रॉप का रिजल्ट गवर्नमेंट को क्या करना था, अपने जितना भी एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन है, एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन का एक तो कुछ पावर्स और उनको दी गई हैं. आई एम नॉट सेइंग कि ये दी जानी चाहिए थी या नहीं चाहिए थी, लेकिन दी गई हैं सो दैट वो और ज्यादा शिकंजा कर सकें. नंबर वन. दूसरा एक है कि इकोसिस्टम, जो जीएसटी इकोसिस्टम में कहीं ना कहीं कुछ ऐसा था जो लैकिंग थी. कि कानून नया है, नए कानून के बाद कुछ ना कुछ अमेंडमेंट हुए, वो अमेंडमेंट बहुत ज्यादा वेल थॉट नहीं थे, या ये कह सकते हैं जो जीएसटी का जो इनिशियल आइडिया था कि सब कुछ ऑनलाइन होने वाला है, वो ऑनलाइन नहीं हुआ। तो पैचवर्क की वजह से कुछ ऐसे ऐसे प्रोसीजर आते गए जो कि लॉ के साथ सिंक्रोनाइज नहीं थे। तो कहीं ना कहीं उन्हीं पैचवर्क्स को लॉ के साथ सिंक्रोनाइज करने की कोशिश की है। तो लेट अस स्टार्ट बाय कि जो जहां पर इकोसिस्टम को डेंट प्रूफ करने की कोशिश की गई है, या डिपार्टमेंट को जो बोगस काम हो रहे हैं उनके ऊपर टाइटनिंग के ऑब्जेक्टिव के साथ में जो प्रोविजन सरकार लेके आई है, उनको सबसे पहले स्टार्ट करते हैं। सबसे पहले जो इसमें फर्स्ट अमेंडमेंट आई वुड लाइक टू डिस्कस इज विच इज गोइंग टू इम्पैक्ट ईच एंड एवरी पर्सन, जो इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट जो कि जीएसटी की हम कहते हैं आत्मा है, विच इज सोल ऑफ जीएसटी। हम सब लोग जानते हैं वहां पर 4 कंडीशन दी गई है जीएसटी में कि भाई 4 कंडीशन आपको सेटिस्फाई करोगे तब जाके आपको ये क्रेडिट मिलेगा। वो 4 कंडीशन सेक्शन 16 सब सेक्शन 2 में दी गई हैं, ए बी सी डी। ए बिल होना चाहिए, बी गुड्स और सर्विसेज रिसीव हो गई, सी आपको वो जो उन सप्लाईज के ऊपर जिनका आप क्रेडिट लेना चाह रहे हो उसके ऊपर टैक्स पे हो चुका है, और डी आपने अपनी रिटर्न फाइल कर दी। तो क्लॉज सी की जहां हम बात कर रहे हैं, टैक्स पे कर दिया है उस सप्लाई के ऊपर सप्लायर। आई एम नॉट टेकिंग आरसीएम केसेस, इन नॉर्मल केसेस फॉरवर्ड चार्ज के जो होते हैं उनमें टैक्स पे कर दिया सप्लायर ने। वो कैसे कंक्लूसिवली प्रूव हो सकता है कि अगर आपके सप्लायर ने आपकी सप्लाईज को इनकॉर्पोरेट किया है अपनी रिटर्न्स में और उसका 3B फाइल कर दिया, 3B फाइल कर दिया, दैट मींस उसने टैक्स दे दिया। तो इस तरीके से उसको इनकॉर्पोरेट माना जा सकता है। बट आप सब लोगों को याद होगा एक रूल 36(4) करके भी रूल आया हमारे पास, जिसने कि आपके अगर मान के चलो कुछ चीजें आपके 2A में दिखाई नहीं दे रही, यानी कि आपके सप्लायर ने जो रिटर्न फाइल किया है अगर उसमें नहीं आ रही हैं, तो इन दैट केस देयर इज अ रिस्ट्रिक्शन। अब वो रिस्ट्रिक्शन का कैप पहले ये था जितना आ रही है उससे 20% क्लेम कर सकते हो, देन इट केम टू 10%, देन इट केम टू 5%, एंड एज वी वर एक्सपेक्टिंग, आई वाज इन कोलकाता मे बी कपल ऑफ वीक्स अगो, तब मैंने कहा था ये 0% होने वाला है, और वो एक्चुअली इस अमेंडमेंट के थ्रू 0% हो रहा है। कि यहां पर जो मेन एलिजिबिलिटी क्लॉज था उसमें कंडीशन डाल दी गई कि जब तक आपके पास क्रेडिट नहीं आ रहा है, क्रेडिट रिफ्लेक्ट नहीं हो रहा है ऑनलाइन आपके रिकॉर्ड्स में, क्रेडिट एलिजिबल ही नहीं होगा। दैट मींस यू कैन नॉट अवेल दैट क्रेडिट। सो बेसिकली वो 5% राइडर भी खत्म हो जाएगा द मोमेंट ये प्रोविजन इफेक्ट में आएगा। एंड नाउ आई वुड से विद सम बेटर अथॉरिटी, आपने जब भी मेरे से अगर किसी का डिस्कशन हुआ हो तो मैंने हमेशा एक चीज बोली है, जो रूल 36(4) है, इट इज काइंड ऑफ अ सन विदाउट फादर और इलेजिटिमेट चाइल्ड। इसके लॉ में कोई बैकिंग नहीं है, कहीं से भी प्रोविजन नहीं है। तो आई एम नॉट सेइंग 100% बैकिंग आ गई है अभी, लेकिन टू सम एक्सटेंट उसको ऑथेंटिसिटी मिल गई है। नंबर 1 ये आप हम सबको समझ में आ गया कि अब लॉ में ऐसा प्रोविजन डाला जा रहा है कि अगर 2A में या 2B जो रेस्पेक्टिव फॉर्म्स हैं उनमें अगर मेरा क्रेडिट रिफ्लेक्ट नहीं होगा तो क्रेडिट एलिजिबल ही नहीं होगा, ले ही नहीं सकते। नंबर 1।